Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the July 21st edition of Marketing Office Minutes with John Turino. For those of you who haven't seen one of these broadcasts before, the whole idea really is to get you to sign in via Zoom and ask questions of our special guest speaker in real time. Since not so many people do that, I think there's a lot of camera-shy people in the world. I will be recording this, and I will be putting it up as a replay on YouTube and Facebook later in the day. So with that, and with no further ado, let me introduce today's special guest, Ken Rosengren from Ken's home team at Keller Williams Realty. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit, Ken, about Ken's home team and Keller Williams Realty, a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay. Well, we started about 10 years ago getting into the real estate business. And the reason is because we moved here from Atlanta, Georgia, my wife and I. And just like everybody else, we didn't like what we were doing. I was an executive chef with Marriott. My wife was with Georgia Pacific. We didn't enjoy what we were doing anymore, and we wanted something different. My wife had always wanted to do real estate, so we were like, go for it. So we did, and we joined a company that was very much into helping each other, and then we found Keller Williams, which is hugely into helping each other be successful within the office. Because of that, we've had great conversations with extremely successful real estate agents doing 600, 800, 1,000 units a year. And I know for some real estate agents that'll think, wow, that's just impossible. But people are doing it. So we had great conversations with them, and we've been able to learn how to improve our systems. The ultimate goal that we have is to make our clients happy. Okay. Give them the tools that they need to be successful to reach their goals. It's about them. It's not about us. The pleasure that we get is we get to see their faces when we sell their home, all bright and shiny and happy, and we get to see the same thing when we get to sell them a home when they're moving into their home. They're excited, and it's really cool to see that. That's really kind of what gives me the passion to do this. The other passion that I have is education. I love to help people learn and grow and be successful. Whether you're a client or a person on our team, that's my ultimate goal for each person. So we've been able to put in a lot of great processes. We ask a lot of questions. We've tried and true over the 10 years of what we do. And the biggest thing is we ask a lot of questions of what our clients are looking for and why they want to reach this goal. So that's really the biggest thing. And then we want to make sure they understand why they're doing what they're doing. So that's Ken's home team in a nutshell. We are a team. I've got a marketing person. I got a specialist here in Washington. I got a buyer specialist. And then my amazing wife is great with paperwork, and she takes care of all the paperwork for us. That's kind of us in a nutshell.
All right. Well, you've often said that systems are a big part of making sure that things run smoothly and that you can be successful. Tell me a little bit more about the systems that you use.
Well, it's just like any other salesperson. You've got to know what to say, when to say it. So scripts is a huge system for us. We practice what to say and how to help people every single day. We've been to classes. We've masterminded with very successful real estate agents and other salespeople as well. And the systems that we have although they seem kind of basic, they're very powerful. We've been able to put a buyer system together so that a buyer's agent knows how to have the conversations and what questions to ask their clients. Same thing with the seller presentation. We have a full presentation that we have, and it's the system that we get us there. Then in the background, we have the marketing person that has a very specific schedule of what to do and how to do different marketing things for homes that we're selling, so that we can make sure that we're very successful in getting the home sold quickly. In fact, our marketing program is so successful that we typically sell homes within 14 days for about 103% above list price. So it works, and that system is just, it's a lot of social media stuff. We don't do very much print. It's mostly internet marketing, because that's where most people are anyway. That's where they start the process.
Yeah, that's very true. People will often spend time on Google or on the internet looking for exactly what it is they're looking for, choose from the top 3 or 5 on the first page, and then go from there. So,
yeah.
What activities do you and your team do that would work for any kind of a sales business? I know you're in real estate. Others might say, "Well, gee, that I'm not in that business." Tell me a little bit about the systems that are in there that help you and should help any salesperson in business really succeed.
Well, the first thing is you got to know where you want to go. You got to have a goal. And the old saying is, if you have a goal but it's not written down, it's just a wish.
Okay.
Which is very true, because if you don't have it and you don't focus on it, you're not going to get anywhere, and most people won't achieve it if it's not written down and they don't have a plan. So it's one, creating a goal that you want to achieve. The second part of creating a goal is actually creating a plan to achieve that goal. And it doesn't matter whether you're selling a house, a car, a widget. It doesn't really matter. You still need that process. So it's the goal setting of what you want to achieve. And then it's also about the process of how do you set that up? What is your 3 legs? Because most people are going to focus on 3 things. What are your 3 legs that are going to support you to reach that goal? And that's the business plan. Okay. The other thing is that a lot of people, it's that one thing they don't really like, and that's lead generation. Everybody in sales has to generate a lead. It's part of
absolutely.
business.
Yeah.
So we spend 2 to 3 hours every day, and we're making phone calls and we're meeting people for 2 reasons. One, we want to help somebody buy a house. The other reason is because we've got houses that we want to get somebody to buy.
Right.
So we're constantly doing both of those things on the phone. We're asking our buyers that are in our database and the people that we keep building up, would this house work for you based on their criteria? And that's what every salesperson needs to do, is work on their lead generation. Who is the next person that they're working with? One of our things that we set as a standard is we don't just make phone calls, we set appointments. Okay? Our goal is to set 2 appointments every day. And it's 2 appointments with new people. We want to make sure that it's not the same 5 people every week that we're working with. We want to make sure that we're finding new people. And everybody needs to focus on that when they're selling something. Who's the next person that I'm going to be able to help reach their goal? And that's really what it comes down to. The other piece that's huge with any business is finding out what marketing is going to work for that business. Okay? Is it door-to-door? Is it phone calls? Is it internet marketing? Is it sending a flyer or farming to a different neighborhood or different businesses? Everybody's got their thing, their widget that they're selling or their service that they're providing. They still got to find the clients, and they got to figure out how to get to those people. And marketing is a huge thing for us. We have found that paper doesn't work. So for us, newspaper doesn't really work, and it doesn't. And these little magazines that are out there, the thing that it does is it gives me brand recognition, but it doesn't sell houses, and it's very expensive. So to help our clients, we focus 99% of what we do is done online, whether it's classified ads or it's social media, not just Facebook, but LinkedIn and Instagram. We do things in those programs and those platforms to help us be very successful. Print marketing, there's a couple things that we do. We do farm, but we don't do the normal geographical farm. We figured out who our ideal client is, and those are the people that we're going after. We were able to work with a company to get a list of it. And anybody can do that. There's a program called Cole Realty or Cole Resources that you can get the addresses of who your market is. And there's a lot of other things that title companies can even do. But you got to know who your client is or who you want your client to be, and then you got to go to them. They're not going to come to you.
Right.
When we door knock, one of the first things that we say is I know you weren't going to come to my office, so I'm coming to you to see if I can help you. Okay? And that's really what it is. It's going to find where they are, whatever you're selling, who is your client and where are they, and going to that location to find them. That's really the three biggest things. So it's goal setting, goal setting, business plan, lead generation, and effective marketing. But there's one other thing too, accountability. There's a lot of people out there that are very good at what they do, but they fall short of reaching their goals because they have a hard time holding themselves accountable. I'm one of them. I have a really hard time holding myself accountable. So what I've done is I've created several people to help me, obviously through business coaches and then accountability partners, where they hold me accountable to what my goals are. And it's my goals. It's not their goals. It's not anybody else's goal. It's my goal that I've created my business plan and my goals. And then they help me say, okay, where are we? Are you behind? Are you ahead of your schedule? Why are you ahead of your schedule? What did you do? Can you continue to do that to stay ahead? Or what do we need to do between this time and this time to get caught up on your goal? So accountability is very big. And sometimes it's your boss. Sometimes it's your spouse. Sometimes it's somebody across the country that's in the same business that you admire and you look up to that could help you. But it's got to be somebody that you're going to respect and that you don't want to let down. And then they're going to help you hold accountable to what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, there are so many people who don't have that kind of help and that kind of accountability. I know that I have worked from home for years and years, and I don't necessarily have a person that I hold myself accountable with, but I have systems in place that I know whether I'm on track, whether I miss something, what I'm postponing, the worst thing that I don't want to do, and I try to get those done first thing in the morning so that everything else is a lot easier after that. So yeah, a system of accountability I think is really important. And then when you're talking about lead generation, when I was in the insurance world, we had a kind of a formula that said, for every 10 contacts you might make contact with, or 10 people you might make contact with, then 3 of those might set up appointments with you, and 1 might become a customer eventually. So I don't know how that ratio fits with what you're doing, but I'd sure be interested to know.
Yeah, and that's a great point. You're absolutely right. And the only way you know that is by tracking it. So we actually do that, John, is what we do is we'll actually track, if it's phone calls, we will track how many times we dial the phone number. Then we track how many times somebody will answer the phone call. And then we track how many appointments we get. And we have found that every 20 dials, we have an appointment.
Oh, okay.
So it's a good ratio because it's an actual appointment to somebody who wants to sell a home. Okay.
Right.
So it's just knowing that, okay, I'm getting to 18, I'm at 19, I know this is my 20, this one's going to be my appointment. So knowing that, it also helps on planning your day too, knowing those numbers. So tracking is a huge thing, and I'm glad you brought that up. The other thing is I admire you for working at home. I tried that. I found that I have to be in an office environment for me because my dog needed to be petted.
Oh.
There was a weed outside that, it couldn't be there anymore. I would go find that weed. Or, Oprah came on and I had to watch Oprah. It's one of those things. I was always distracted with other stuff coming into an environment with an office. And that's a lot of salespeople want to work from home, but they get distracted and they lose focus of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes an office is great, or a home office where it's designated specifically to the job.
Yeah.
Here, I have to come into the office every day, and I do. Typically 5 days a week. I'm here by 7:30, 8 o'clock every morning. I plan my day, and then I exit.
Yeah, you're right about working from home. Now, I'm old enough that my kids are all gone, and we don't have pets and that sort of thing. So it's not so difficult for me. And I do have this room here, which is the office, and I can close the door, get rid of distractions and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, and I've worked in offices too, but it really depends on the environment. Sometimes people would like to come to an office as opposed to meeting in a coffee shop. Others today, because working independently is so common, have no issue with a coffee shop or someplace else. So
Right.
it depends on what you're selling and who you're dealing with.
Right. You're absolutely correct.
So we talked a little bit about goals and the fact that if they're not written down, they're kind of wishes. And you talked a little bit about your target market versus willy-nilly marketing. What are some of the mechanisms? You mentioned the Kroll list thing. What are some of the mechanisms you use for identifying target markets?
You know, just like any other business, real estate has several sources that we could use to help do a couple different things. Lead generation. So one of the things as a real estate agent we focus on is canceled, expireds, and for sale by owners. And it's a process, and there's a program that we use. It's called Vulcan 7, but there's like 15 other companies that provide a system like this. There's Cole Realty gives us what we call circle prospecting. It is we're able to pinpoint a house, and then we can go around that house to help offer our services. It gives us home phone numbers or cell phone numbers and emails if we want them. But there's a lot of programs. So for real estate, like I said, it's Vulcan 7 is a great program for us. We have the Cole resources that we use. We have a program that we call Boomtown. It's a contact management system, which is a must in any sales business. You've got to have a system that will track the people that you have, and you can be able to stay in contact with them and log in information. You want to be able to add notes to that person. And the reason we found every time we make a phone call and we're using our systems, we put a note in there, and that gives us our next phone call, whether it's tomorrow or a week from today or a month from today or 2 months from today. That's our topic of the conversation. Well, how, you know, we put a note in there, they were going to a baseball game with their son or their daughter or whatever, they were going on an anniversary. We can now call them and say, well, how was that event? How was the baseball game? Or how was your vacation? How was the anniversary? So it's having those systems. And then another system that we use is a program called Happy Grasshopper. And what it does, it's a very specific program that we are able to send emails out to our clients. And it's very, very detailed on who we are and what we believe and the processes that we have. So that's just a couple of the systems. So those, and every industry has those systems for them that are specific to their industry. In real estate, one of the reasons I use Boomtown is because it helps me send properties to our clients. It's a very big program. It's very easy to use, in which most programs need to be easy to use so that you will use them, because if they're clunky and hard and you're not going to use it, right? I mean, you're just going to give up. Yeah. It's also, you know, with lead generation, one of the things that we do is we do script practice. We sit down and we have a conversation every day, and we focus on one script and how is it a for sale by owner, so that we know how to handle those conversations and their objections. You know, a lot of people are afraid of somebody giving them an objection when they say no, or they say, no, I'm going to use somebody else. But what they really need to realize is that a no really signifies that they really have more questions that have not been answered.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Yep.
That's really what a no is.
You know, I help people put presentations together, and one of the things I've always said is I anticipate the objections and get them out of the way early on in the presentation, so that people's fears are allayed and they're not sitting there worrying about what about this and what about that, instead of actually listening to what you're saying. So it makes a huge difference. And if the veterans can share it with the newbies, it really helps them avoid the mistakes and get much better at it. I'm a firm believer in that role playing and speaking stuff. It really works. So. It
does, because like you said, you're not focusing on what you have to say next and ignoring what the person is that's in front of you. Be in the moment, and if you practice your scripts, you know what to say, when to say, and how to handle that conversation. But the biggest thing in a conversation is when you're talking to somebody, they're going to give you your next question, or they're going to give you the next topic of conversation, because they're saying something. And if you're listening to them, you know what to say. If you're not listening to them, you're going to go from this conversation here, and you're going to bring them all the way over here to something else, and it's off topic, and then the person that you're talking to is like, what just happened? Yeah. So practicing the scripts and role play, and I call it real play, because you want to be in a real life and having those conversations with somebody that knows what you're doing. The other cool thing is, too, is we're practicing with other real estate agents, and I'll be very honest, when you're practicing with somebody in your industry, you're never going to run into a client as hard as that person you're practicing with.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
They're going to come up with stuff that you're like, where the heck did that come from? You know, but it also prepares you, because eventually you'll have that conversation.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So that's and we do this every morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock every day. Our team will get into a room and we'll do a round robin, and it's whatever that person wants to focus on. We do, you know, the goal setting. You know, in sales, typically what you do today, you're going to see the results in 3 months. That's pretty typical in sales. Yeah. So most people will wait until November, December to start doing their planning for January. We actually do it in September. Oh. That way we have October, November, December to ramp up to what it is that we're going to do the next year. That way we're already on track for our goals starting January, instead of we're already into the first quarter, at the end of first quarter, getting into our plan. So we back up, and that's what a lot of salespeople don't think of. I know people who, and it's not just real estate, it's other sales businesses. One, they don't have a plan. Right. Two, they'll plan their next year, but they'll plan it in January or February or March. Well, they've already missed half the year. It's already dead to them. You know, so it's planning in the future. All
right.
Yeah.
You're also a great networker, Ken. I know that from the Network with Results meetings that we participate in together, and the one in Portland that you lead. And that you're a firm believer in power partners as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, my gosh. Networking is huge. I take a different approach than a lot of people, and the cool thing is the people I surround myself with have the same approach as I do, like yourself and several people in Networking with Results. And what they do is their goal isn't about themselves. Their goal is to actually help the person in the room be successful. Zig Ziglar said it: if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Get what you want. Yep.
So I focus on that. I want to help everybody that I can be successful. And in return, eventually somebody is going to hear about me through them and want to work with me because of that. But power partners are huge. I've got a handyman that I give business to, and he helps refer me business. I've got electricians and plumbers and coaches and everybody in the Network with Results. It's been amazing. I did a quarterly review. My first quarter of this year, we did a quarterly review, and my business had grown year over year for the first quarter, 15 to 16 by 48%, and that 48% growth is specifically because of Network with Results.
Oh, wow. Well,
so, you know, networking is huge. It's about having those conversations. The other thing about networking is getting to know the other person.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to refer business to somebody that I don't know. Right. You know, I got to know, like, and trust them. It's the 3 rules: know, like, and trust. And then I'm going to give that person business. First, I'm going to try to be the client, and then I'm going to pass business. Sometimes it happens a little bit quicker with some people. Some people it takes a little bit longer to build that relationship with. But in all, it's about me helping them grow, and then it's exponential with them helping me. And it's, you know, I get more pleasure. Please understand, I love referrals, but I also get more pleasure when I get to hand somebody a referral and say, this person really needs your services. Could you just give them a call and have a conversation? I've already told them all about you, and they really need your help. So that's really the biggest things, and that's a great conversation that I like to have all the time.
Yeah, I mean, power partners, in my experience, are people who are just worth their weight in gold. When I was, again, back in the insurance world, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, people like that were great power partners, because I could when somebody was shopping for insurance, I could say, hey, I got somebody who's looking for something new, and you can go with that. And sometimes you'd find somebody who's trying to sell a house or buy a house or refinance their mortgage or whatever. So yeah, our partners make a heck of a difference, as does the need to have these one-on-one meetings after a networking event, so that you do get to know people, and that way you really begin, as you say, to know, like, and trust them. And it builds a relationship as opposed to a transactional kind of a relationship.
Right. And, unfortunately, a lot of new people in the very beginning of their sales career, they're just looking for the deal.
Yeah.
I'm looking for friends and clients for life. That's what I'm looking for. And that's what we focus on our team is we want friends and clients for life. We want to be their resource. And the cool thing about networking groups is that when a client calls me and says, I need a landscaper, or I'm looking for somebody that can help my son, or I need a coach, a business coach, I need, whatever they need, I have this amazing resource. I can say, you know what? I've got the perfect person for you. You need to call this landscaper or this coach or this marketing person, and they can really help you get to where you want to go. And that's the really cool thing, because now I'm a resource.
Right.
Now I've got people calling me and emailing me, asking me, who do I know who does this?
Yep.
And I'm able to help them. And then, of course, they tell their friends, hey, you got to call Ken. Ken's the guy. He knows everybody.
Right.
And that's kind of what I want to be. I want to be that guy who can help my clients and my friends and my family get what they need.
Yeah, absolutely critical to go in with that kind of an attitude. Because when you do, as you say, provide, and as Zig Ziglar said, provide enough help to other people, good things will happen. It's kind of karma that way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, before we close up here, maybe give us a little insight into what you think is the biggest challenge that other salespeople will face trying to advance their career and go forward.
Well, one of the things is preparing to get ready. A lot of people want to constantly, I've got to get this set up, this set up, this set up, this set up, and then the next thing you know, you're 6 months into it and you haven't done anything. Yes, you do need to be prepared. Yes, you do need to learn your industry. Yes, you do need to learn your product. But at the same time, you need to execute also. So I see a lot of people that are preparing to prepare, and they really don't get into business for quite some time, or they got to know how to do it before they can do it. And sometimes, for some people, the best learning is to just do it.
Yeah.
The other biggest obstacle really is we've talked about this twice now, is the whole lead generation thing. You've got to figure out a plan so that you can go out and find your clients, go where they are, see how you can help them, and literally help them be successful, and they'll in turn help you be successful as well. That's really the biggest things that I see in any sales, is failing to plan, failing to get into action, and then lead generation. Those are the three big things that I think could hurt a salesperson, especially new ones getting into it. And you know what? I've been doing this for 10 years, and once in a while I do forget, and I do get a little lazy. But then my team kind of reminds me and gives me that elbow, and I get back to it. So, it's the support too. You got to have your family support you as well.
Sure. All right. Well, listen, for folks who would like to get in touch with you, what's the best ways for them to contact you?
Just give me a call. My phone number is 360-609-0226. That's really the best way. The only time I don't answer my phone is when I'm with somebody or in a meeting or with my team. But I promise you I will call you right back. Okay. You can also email me at kenr@kens with an S, KENS, hometeam.com. Those are the two. The phone is really the best. You can text message me also if you want on my phone.
Okay. Well, I'll be adding that information to the replay here. What I normally do is take these and let them convert from the Zoom format to MP4s and import them into Movie Maker, put a front end on them, put a back end on them, and then upload them to YouTube and to Facebook. So,
great. So the work is just beginning for you, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is the easy part, because you're in the hot seat and you have to do all the talking. And then I do the dog work afterwards. But I don't mind doing it. I like doing it. So I want to say really thank you very much, Ken, for joining us this morning, and I really appreciate your insights, and I think you did a super job for us this morning.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You know, and I'm only a phone call away. If anybody wants to call me and ask me questions, I am happy to do it. And I appreciate the opportunity with you, John. I really am. Thank you very much.
All right, super. Have a great day. Join us on July 28th, where Ryan Snyder will be our special guest talking about videos.